Breaker broke 23, so I was going through a book of manuals and whatnot, and I found some stoner gear, or some stoner information anyway. And I've owned this stuff since about 1984, and I thought I'd like to share this with you here for a minute. So if you were a CB dealer back in the late 70s, and you were thinking about becoming a stoner dealership, I believe you would get one of these in the mail, direct from Stoner. So I'm not going to take pictures of this. I'll let you guys, I'm going to try to hold these as still as I can. I'm going to let you guys freeze the computer and read. Turn your monitor sideways or whatever. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm not going to make any friends now because I want to tell you what I think was going on with this Stoner stuff. I understand that Don Stoner was a great mind as far as electronics and radio and satellite communications go. I get all that. I think what was happening here is he wanted to put together, you know, in his mind, probably the best CB radio ever built. And I think, and this is just, you know, me thinking here and pulling stuff out of the air here, but what I think happened was he was gonna build this great radio. He had investors looking for investor money. I'm sure he threw a lot of his own money in there as well, and wanted to do the Pro 40. He did a Pro 10, which was a 10-meter version of this Pro 40, and then he had an 8010, which was a phenomenal ham radio, 80 through 10 meters, which was really cool. A friend of mine here in Salt Lake actually had one. I never got to touch it, and I wish that I did. I would have loved to take take the lid off and see what it looked like inside. But anyway, what I'm thinking of is he had the investors and everything and was trying to get this thing engineered and set up and, put all this together. I'm sure it was a huge undertaking. But, the clock is ticking because we're coming up now to what I think they knew was the end of the CB boom. And he just had to get this stuff out. So I believe they cut some corners. I believe they cut corners in quality of components like the tantalum capacitors, cheap Mexican-made capacitors. They did not think to ventilate the radio itself so it would build up heat, and I believe that would take out components. And I have a good friend of mine who probably doesn't want to be named on here that works on these things, and this is where we actually came up with all this information, or if some of you hardcore guys want to, believe it's misinformation. So I'll leave that open to you guys. So honestly, these were beautiful, sexy-looking radios. I mean, this is just a beautiful setup, but they were subpar performance-wise and very, very glitchy and tended to break down a lot. You guys that paid $1,500 for these on eBay, you know what I'm talking about. All right, now, that being said, because I'm not making friends, so let's make a few friends. All right, I have a box of Stoner owner cards. When you would buy a Stoner Pro 40, you would get a box of 100 QSL cards. And then by that, you could, this was back in the day whenever, QSL cards were the thing. And you could show all of your good buddies out there in DX land and your locals that you were a Stoner owner. That, yes, you paid $1,000 for a 40-channel sideband only CB radio. So confirming contact with a Stoner owner. By the way, I own that domain, stonerowner.com. That site is currently not up, but it has been up years past, and I used to sell parts. Anyway, that's just a beautiful train, isn't it? Absolutely stunning. Best looking gear in the world. I think the Stoner Pro 40 gear and the DAC are probably the most beautiful radios on the planet. All right, so as we were going through the manual here, you guys may have caught something. Look at this. This is the AM adapter, the Stoner AM adapter. Now, honestly, I have never seen one of these. I don't know anybody that's owned one with the proper radio. I heard some folklore back in the late 90s, early 2000s that these were Cobra setups, and as you can see, they're not. I kind of got a chuckle out of that because I was listening, actually watching a forum way back in the day, 20 plus years ago, and the internet wizards of smart swore that this was a Cobra, and it wasn't. It was a Presidente, and it had the Stoner logo above the channel selector. And this is beautiful. I honestly think this was an afterthought because all the promo shots and QSL cards do not include the AM adapter. All right. Another thing I have never seen was the computer interface modem that would let you hook up a computer to the Pro 40. So my question to you guys is, especially you hardcore Stoner guys, do you have one of these? Have you ever known anybody that's used one? And what do you do with it? Do you just control channel up, down? I mean, what does it do? What does it do? I have yet talked to anybody that can tell me what that does. We have the little receive transverter and stuff like that. The meter console, station console with the digital clock and yada, yada, yada. People do have these. I get that. There are full trains out here. But I want to know what was going on with the computer interface module. I think this is pretty interesting. All right, guys. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. You know, beautiful looking stuff. Extremely beautiful. But, yeah, not really too usable, honestly. 10 watts output. Very glitchy. They're very problematic. They have all sorts of service issues that come up at any given time. And there were little quirks with it, like the blinking LEDs. You know, they would pulsate. And that was supposed to be a clocking. I read somewhere, well, that was due to the clocking feature for the frequency counter. And by the way, these are pretty damn stable. But honestly, this is where I think they just rushed this product to market way too fast. This is like an ARF and a DAC. Beautiful, 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 American-made, killer technology, but just not refined. Not very good equipment, quite honestly. I honestly think this was geared to the ego-driven operator, but, you know, that's just my opinion anyway. There you go. The Stoner Pro 40 and Stoner owner cards. Really beautiful. Thanks for watching.